way in the places of the paths. She cries at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. What are there's two different types of places mentioned there, aren't there? The high places and the low. The common places, the places that are not common. And the high places kind of referred to typically areas that your elitist would be, your who's who and important people would be. That was, if you remember in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul addressed that, those that come in and they desire the highest seating in the place, in the sanctuary, which is just the prime seating. That was where the important people sat, and so people wanted that. And you remember they wouldn't let the poor people in there to sit there because they weren't good enough to sit in those seats in the sanctuary. And so here, these two places give us a clear indication that who can have wisdom. She's out there crying out for who? For everybody. Wisdom is not select. Wisdom is not just going to be offered to your people of significance and importance and higher ups. Wisdom's for all of us. From the highest up to from the wealthiest to the poorest to the most intelligent to the least intelligent to, however you want to look at it. And so that's one of the things that is brought out here. That again, she makes her call in the most public of places, the gates at the entry of the city. And so in other words, wisdom's not limited. Wisdom is for whoever will listen. And so the wisdom of God is absolutely available to whoever desires it. So then we move down to verse number 4. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. O you simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are all in plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Here, Solomon, going back to verse 4, spoke of wisdom again personified, and the message that she is presenting to whoever. It says men, but again, much like whenever we refer to, we use the specific situation in the previous chapters of adultery, in those relationships of a man. This can be men or women, but so because wisdom is not just limited to men, it can be men or women. So basically whoever will listen that she cries out to, and the loudness and the perseverance of this voice is that of a friend who is willing to warn you of danger. If you have somebody who is a true friend, they will tell you that if you're going in a direction or you've got something going on that you should not have going on. They will tell you that. They will warn you of that, and that's what this is. And that's how Solomon is personifying her here. I think it's interesting. She refers to the simple ones. Verse 5, O ye simple. Have we heard that phrase before in this study since we've been going through Proverbs? What's that mean? Who was that? It's the ones that lack understanding and wisdom, and right? Back over in chapter 7, it was Solomon talked about the man that found his way and put himself in. He said he looked out his window. Remember, looked out his window and he saw a simple one and a gullible person, somebody who lacks wisdom. He's not, he's ignorant, just to be blunt about it. And I think it's interesting that here we see wisdom crying out to that person, crying out to that type of an individual. Wisdom does not give up on the simple ones. And for us, it may seem like a lost cause, but it doesn't have to be, right? That person can gain wisdom still. They may be ignorant, they may be foolish, they may be gullible, but that doesn't mean they can't get wisdom. Wisdom is available to them just as much as it is anybody else. And so we can learn the ways of wisdom and benefit from that learning, because here's the truth of the matter is when we look back at chapter 7, we see that type of person. And we think, well, they missed the boat on that wisdom call, didn't they? They certainly didn't have it. However, even after the mistake, now that mistake's been made, can that person still gain wisdom? Absolutely. That's how we keep from repeating those same mistakes, right? That's how we make sure that we're not going right back and doing the same thing that we did previously. And so she cries out even to the simple and wants them to know. And in verse 6 says here, "For I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things, for my mouth shall speak truth." Wisdom, when wisdom speaks truth, it's, or when wisdom speaks, it's true. Somebody who chronically lies should not be trusted to communicate wisdom, right? Why would you trust that person? And so wisdom here says, listen, there is nothing crooked or perverse in anything that I'm going to offer you. I'm not going to give you bad advice. I'm not going to give you, and so the words can be understood. They're all plain to him who understands. And it's one of the things that there's clarity and straightforward character to wisdom, which it's one that contrasts with elaborate so-called hidden truths and mysteries. I think it's interesting too, because now wisdom, we get wisdom from this right here, right? So wisdom, think about that when you put it all together, and sometimes it's easy to get caught up or lose sight of this when we start thinking about wisdom. But when you look at this, it says, "O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be of understanding. Here, for I will speak of excellent things, for the opening of my lips shall be right things. And then for my mouth shall speak truth." We have to understand with wisdom, and again, really, when you look at the scriptures as wisdom, they're all plain to them that understand. I want you to hold on to that phrase, because they're all plain to them that understand. That's kind of where this has gone in this passage of Scripture. Does that mean that there's not scriptures that are occasionally going to be more complicated to understand? No, that's definitely true. There's definitely scriptures that can be more difficult to understand. But the fundamental truths of the Bible are very plain to those who trust God and those who honor His Word. The fundamentals. We're not talking about diving into the deep theological discussions and debates on certain issues and things of which, by the way, most have no. They end up being our opinions on them and man's opinions, and probably have it twisted up in all kinds of ways. But listen, the foundational truths, the fundamental truths of the Bible are plain to those who trust God and honor His Word. In fact, I love, quote from Mark Twain. Mark Twain said this. He said, it's not the parts of the Bible that I can't understand that bother me. He said, it's the parts that I do understand. If you really think about that statement, it's not the parts that I don't understand. It's the parts that I do get. And why does that bother me? Because they probably convict me and challenge me to not be that. And so wisdom's plain. Wisdom's there. It's truth. And so I love the fact when you get over into verse number 10 says, receive my instruction and not silver and knowledge rather than choice gold. And then he says, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. And in other words, wisdom is far more valuable. We think about the value of physical things, of gold and silver and rubies, or whatever material things. But what Solomon says here is, listen, you can't put a dollar value on wisdom. It's far greater. And you know what? If we're honest with ourselves, if we'll step back and really consider times where wisdom has benefited us, where you used wisdom to make a right decision, you'll think, man, that saved me a lot of problems, a lot of headaches, a lot of, so you have to think about wisdom in that way, and that's what he's reminding them, the reader here. Listen, hey, wisdom is valuable. You can't put a dollar value on it. It's greater. It's anything that you can desire still can't compare to wisdom and its benefit. And you can have all these things without wisdom and have the riches of this world, but guess what? You're probably going to have a miserable life. Early in his reign, Solomon desired wisdom above all riches, and he was blessed because of it. Now, once he began to value some other things more than his wisdom, he struggled because of it. And so we have that prime example there. Verse number 12. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way and the froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign and princes decree justice. By me princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. So going back to verse 12, I wisdom dwell with prudence. What is prudence? Discretion, good judgment, self-control. You put all those in there. And so guess what? All of those things, self-control, discretion, they're going to be found where wisdom is. If you find wisdom, you're probably going to find those things. And a life given to impulse and extremes is not going. It will not gain. It will not appreciate. It will not display wisdom. And so wherever true wisdom is, it's going to lead to action. And so he says, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Again, reverence for God. It's not neutral towards evil. If like the God it respects, it hates evil along with pride, arrogance, perverse mouth that often express evil. He says, by me kings reign. What do you think he means by that? Now he's talking about wisdom, so by wisdom kings reign. What do you think he means by that? Would it not be safe to say that there's some kings that have gotten to where they are because they've used wisdom? There's some that are able to remain in their position because of wisdom. There's some that have been probably removed because of a lack of wisdom. So I think it is interesting to hold on to that and remember that. Unfortunately, even some of our politicians are able to keep their positions. Some today have it without lack of wisdom. But anyway, we'll not get into all that. It says, I love those who love me. Those, in other words, those that pursue wisdom, guess what? They'll find themselves rewarded with wisdom. They'll find wisdom. Those who seek her diligently will find her. Wisdom, again, that's one of the things we have to always remind ourselves, because I think, again, and I go back, we look at Solomon and understand his position or his claim to fame, if you will, as being the wisest man to ever live, right? And it's like, man, I wish I had that wisdom. I wish I had that wisdom. Don't forget, wisdom is available to who? Everybody. Any of us that want it, we have it. It's there. It's offered to us. It's wisdom is not but we, again, we were so guilty of relating wisdom to intelligence. Wisdom and intelligence are not the same thing. Because there's some extremely intelligent people in this world that have zero wisdom. Is that y'all? Do y'all make sense? Y'all have food settling real good right now. Some of y'all look like you might be sugar coma or something. I don't know. Carb overload, whatever. But again, those who seek me diligently will find me. You're feeling sorry for me? Don't feel sorry for me. I'm good. I'm good. What did you say? We do. Absolutely. We have to ask for it. Absolutely. He gives it liberally. He gives it, to those who want it. Verse 22. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep. When he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment. When he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the inhabitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. It says, the Lord possessed me being wisdom, at the beginning of his way. What's that mean? Wisdom, while I would not, I don't, and I think it's tough, and I read this and I see this and I get this, that, you don't necessarily want to give wisdom, obviously we're looking at it from a personified, wisdom is not really a person, let's establish that, right? However, wisdom comes from where? God. And so because God has wisdom's always been there. And we see this as what Solomon is saying is that, hey, God has always had wisdom, and he used wisdom whenever He created this world, whenever He created everything that is. And so, again, just identifying that wisdom has always been there with God, and that God used wisdom. He possessed wisdom in the beginning, and before the mountains were settled. Really, this is if you're not a literature person, which I'm not really, but when I read things like this, to me, it's just a beautiful picture, a really poetic beauty, as Solomon considers a lot of the different aspects of creation and how God used wisdom to design and arrange them all. And so, you have the mountains, and you have all the things that we ooh and ah over, right? Man, the things that we look at, and mountains are beautiful. Then you go down and you get a little bit further, and it talks about the seas and the ocean, and that's we all love. Nobody goes and looks at the ocean and is like, yeah, that's ugly. We like it. It's beautiful to us. Whether you enjoy getting in the water or not, it's still an amazing thing. And even when, especially, this is something that always intrigues me probably as much as anything. Whenever I look at creation, I look and think, man, this universe and how all the moving parts of it are. And you stop and you think about how does that just stay in that one place, right? I go back and, you could take when my kids were toddlers, and, you could put them in a place and you can say, all right, I want you to stay right there. Before you got to that wall over there, guess what? They weren't right there no more, right? God put the stars, the sun, the moon, the earth, all that. He put it out there in existence and put it right where He wants it. And it stays within where it's supposed to be. I've said this before, and you understand that, if the earth was just a little bit closer to the sun, what happens to us? We burn up. But if we're just a little bit further away than what we are right now, what happens to us? We freeze. And it's like, God put that right there. And with all of it still, the earth's spinning on its axis, how do we not just accidentally spin off out there somewhere else, And then so you think, I think about all that. Y'all may not, but I do. It just is amazing to me. And then I think about the ocean and the fact that, you have the high tides and the low tides, but yet it comes in and it stops right where it's supposed to. I know that there are times where there's floods and things like that when storms cause it, but overall, that ocean is constantly moving. And yet unless something else comes along and forces it to do what it's not supposed to do, it stays right where it's supposed to stay. That's because God used His wisdom to do all that, to do all of these things. And that's what Solomon is saying here is, look, if the God of creation used wisdom in doing these things, and that same wisdom is available to us, why would we not want that? Right? Why would we not want to have that in our lives? Why would we not want to use that to help us in our daily life? Verse 32, so now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Again, at this point, the resume of wisdom, if you will, has been presented, and so we now have a choice. We can still look at that and say, I don't think I want that. Or we look at that and say, it's pretty impressive. I think I want that in my life. I think I want that for me, and we can allow it. Or we have the choice. We can absolutely reject it. We can say we don't want it. But, again, the plea is for us to hear this and be wise and to accept it and not to refuse it. And to be wise is to refuse it not, then to be ignorant is to reject it. And verse 34 says, "Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my door. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death." So you have a choice. You and I both have choices. We can allow wisdom to come into our life and to really, I look at this and I think this goes along with kind of what Jesus said. Jesus said, "I've come that you might have life, eternal life, and that you might have it more abundantly." And I look at, if we refuse to have wisdom or allow wisdom to be a part of our life, or to accept wisdom and seek after, as we've been told time and time again, as Solomon instructed his son and his children to seek diligently after wisdom, love wisdom, cherish wisdom, desire wisdom. If we don't, then guess what? We really don't want to have that abundant life. God says, "Look, I've got it for you right here. It's available to whoever." It's not limited to a select number of people or groups of people or classifications of people. It's for whosoever will accept it and allow it to be a part of their life. And so you can invite it and welcome it and cherish it and not struggle like we do a lot of times because we refuse wisdom, or you can refuse it and continue to be miserable, make poor decisions, and be on the outs with God. Choice is yours. Choice is mine. We have to understand that again, it's not just something, wisdom, number one, it doesn't just happen, right? It doesn't just, it's not just going to jump on you, There's some things that, you can go some places and, you go to a Mexican restaurant on a Sunday afternoon, and when you leave there, there's a good chance the smell of that Mexican restaurant is going to be all over you. It jumped on you. You didn't have to do anything to get it on you. It just jumped on you, right? We didn't eat Mexican back here today, Brother Carl. Oh, he's checking the nanner pudding to see if it jumped all over him. He'd have slept with that shirt tonight if it had. But there's certain things that we do, and that it does. It'll just get on you. You don't have to do anything about it. But wisdom don't work that way. It has to be something that we want. It has to be something that we desire, and that we pursue. But if we pursue it, the Bible tells us, hey, it's there. It's available to you. You just have to go get it and want it. And when you get it, you got to hold on to it and cherish it and understand the importance of it. Amen? Anybody have any thoughts, comments, questions tonight, this afternoon, whatever time it is?